Okay, we on live. Um, gonna wait a few minutes, see if some people come, and if they do, they do, and if they don't, it's all good because we just gonna talk about a few things today. And I'm cool with that. Guess I ain't got to wear these. It's just me. All right, man. I hope everybody all right today. Things out there getting rough, especially with the pandemic still going on. People getting sick left and right, and it's getting difficult to stay healthy. Um, and whether you believe in the vaccine or not, I mean, if you got it, that's good, and if you didn't, then you just gotta deal with that. Um, all right, so I see I got one person in here, and I guess I'll go ahead and start, man. It's got some housekeeping things to talk about real quick. So if you want to come on live, all you have to do, well, I'm gonna go ahead and drop this link in the chat. So if you're watching on YouTube, you can click the link and it'll come right up. If you are on the Facebook page, then I'm gonna go ahead and post the link over there. Um, it don't quite work right the way I want it to, but we're gonna get it in. So I'm gonna go ahead and put that in the comments right there. Bam. And all you do, you go ahead and click that and click accept. Then you'll come on the screen. I add you to the chat and then we start talking from there. You can show yourself on camera or you cannot. It's all up to you. We small, so I'm not at the point where I got to see everybody. Then we just stream it to our group. All right. Next thing, book study coming this week. On Thursday at 7 o'clock, we're going to have the book study, the 48 Laws of Power. We're going to walk through it. We're going to summarize the chapter. Then we're going to get together and talk about it, see what it means to us, and try to build with one another to get to get some knowledge going on. So it's going to be really good. I got a lot of good stuff prepared. It's going to be good conversation. And, it's one of those things where people always tell you to read books. You need to read books to get smarter and to learn and to become a man and all of that stuff. But I'm not going to tell you no lie. When it was me and I was reading those books, some of them, it didn't make sense to me. I read them, but it didn't make sense. So that's why we're here. We're here to make some stuff make sense. All right. Next thing. Need y'all to do me a favor. Go ahead and hit up the YouTube channel. Go over there and subscribe. We put up our live streams over there. We're going to start doing some additional content over there that you can access to. And I know here on Facebook, I put shorter bits up there. Not as much, but you get the whole thing there. So that's where you want to be. Go ahead to YouTube and subscribe. All right. So I'm gonna go ahead and get into it because I don't think I'm gonna be on here too long because we're gonna come back later on this afternoon. Lion got his son, which congratulations, Lion. We glad to hear that because a son should have the influence of his father, especially after he gets to be a certain age. So they got to do some daddy stuff today. So he's gonna take care of that, and we'll come back and we'll jump on. So that's gonna be good. Can't wait for that. We got a good topic in view of when Lion come back. All right. So what I always used to do on my personal channel is I would say, how would you rate yourself? If you had to give yourself a number between 1 and 10, how you feeling? If you're a 5, you're in the middle. It ain't good, it ain't bad. Are you a 3 or a 4 where stuff could be better, but it ain't looking so good? And are you an 8 or a 9 where I'm on the way to the top and it can't get any better? So how would you rate yourself? So when I did that, it kind of took off. It took off. People started commenting what their number was, and it got to the point where people would see me out in the real world, and they'll say, "All right, Doc, I'm a 10 today. I'm a 7 today," or something like that. So let me tell y'all where that came from. There was this TED talk that I saw, And there was a guy on there, his friend had unalived himself. And what was sad about it is that he talked to the friend the day before, and he asked him, "How you doing?" And the friend been like, "I'm good. I'm good." Y'all know we do that every time we ask each other, we check on our brothers and do all of that stuff. And how you doing? Oh, I'm good. We always say we good, but the truth is we really don't be good. So what he did is start asking people to rate themselves with a number. And what that did is open the door for more conversation. So I decided to start doing that too, because there was a time when I was a 2 or 3 and I didn't know how to tell people that. Um, or I didn't want to be a burden on anybody else because, as a man, we usually kind of stay to ourselves. We hold our own selves up. And you notice it's real funny that we will offer help and tell other people to contact us for help, but we don't want people to help us. We always want to give, but never receive. So the number system kind of does that. So what you're going to see more of on the Book of Man Facebook group and some of these YouTube videos, I'm going to just ask you, how you doing? Rate yourself 1 through 10. And if you would comment, what your level is, and then we can help lift each other up, because that's why we created this group. We created this channel. We saw a need. Lion and I got together, and he was doing his positive motivational videos, I was doing mine, and we decided to link up. I mean, we had already known each other, but we decided to go ahead and link up. And among talking, I guess about a year ago, maybe a year and a half ago, we talked about doing this, and it finally came to fruition. So we here to help men, because I mean, I'll be honest with you, man, nobody cares. Nobody cares. They say that they do, but they don't. We are expected to already know how to be head of household. We are already expected to be bulletproof. We're supposed to be superheroes, supposed to be armored all the time and be able to hold emotional and physical weight 24/7. But the truth is, we all just figuring it out. So with this, we are trying to give us a place to talk, how we can lean on one another and build a brotherhood. So that's why we're here. So, all right, now I'm gonna get into some serious stuff. I told y'all I wasn't gonna be long. I'm gonna go ahead and get to the end and wrap this up soon. But suicide, specifically male suicide, and which this connects to why I'm asking how you doing. So if you listen to the news and social media, everything like that, they would lead you to believe that women are the worst suicide victims, particularly teenage girls. And, they get a lot of attention and resources, which is good, because they do have high numbers and they have to deal with things. But if I was to ask you today, could you tell me what sector of people have the highest suicide rate? And if I told you that it was middle-aged men, you probably wouldn't believe me. But it's true. We, as middle-aged men, have the highest suicide rate among all people. And if you don't believe me, let me share something with you. I'm gonna show you something here. All right. So what you're looking at here is NIMH. That's the National Institute for Mental Health. So let's look at this thing. Right here, this is suicide rates by age group. So if you look here, females 15 to 24 have a 5.5% rate. But look at the other side with the males, 22%. Our boys are committing suicide at more than 3 times the rate of our girls, but nobody gives them the attention. Nobody tries to help them because everything is geared toward the young lady. But look more at it. Then when you go up 25 to 44, that's us. 28% as compared to 7.4%. Why is that happening? Why is that happening? We have 28% suicide rate per 100,000 people. And going up to that, as you get older, the number increases. Look at that. Right here. Males 45 to 64. Almost 30% of males that old commit suicide versus the females of 9.6%. So I asked myself the question, why is that happening? Why? From my limited knowledge, is it that men are placed under a lot of stress and that we some of our people can't deal with it. We sit to ourselves and we don't talk to other men. Could that be it? And you feel like ending your life is the only solution? I see in some groups, some forums, some men cite the fact that they have lost everything. They went through a divorce and they can't see their children and they have to pay child support that's more than what they make and they can't afford to live. So they thought it would be better off to do that. Some people are just mentally ill and the resources are not out there. I mean, do you know how many male shelters there are in the United States? How many? And I got that answer for you. 1. When a man needs help, when a young man needs help, he has nowhere to go. I saw a story where one gentleman was getting abused by his wife and he left and he called the shelter and they told him flat out, we can't help you because you are a man. What's going on? Why? This is why we have the space. So we have to try to save ourselves. We have to, let's go further down and look at this. I'm going to go to this next chart. All right. So look at this chart, suicide rates by race. This is important. So you're looking at all of this. Now at the top right here, this AI is American Indian. They have the highest rates of suicide among all people at 33%. Then followed by our white brothers, 29%. But guess who's in third place? Us, 12.4%. And if you look at the other side right here, you notice that all the rates, they correlate with what was earlier, what we talked about earlier, with the rate being 3 times as much. Look at this. Hispanic, 3.0 to 11.3. That's almost 3 times. 8% white women versus 29% white men. That's more than 3 times. Black is 2.9, so almost 3 compared to 12.4 black men. That's 4 times. So the question is, why? Why is that happening? And what can we do about it? I don't think that we can rely on social programs, government, things like that to save us, because everything is geared toward women and girls. So our boys, they come up neglected, and then they turn into middle-aged men who choose to commit suicide. Now, I say let's give them the help early. Let's help our boys early. And it's more than just, okay, they choose to put them in a sport. Let's put them in a sport. But that only does so much. And you know what? I'm in the school system, so I can tell you straight up, I can tell you that these boys are struggling. These boys are struggling. And could you imagine being in something where you get in trouble for just being you, and that the people don't understand you? That's what happens. I mean, these boys, they have to deal with that. I've seen it. I have seen it. And it's like they are a square peg trying to be shoved into a round hole. And the teachers make them fit. They force them through there, but they don't get through unscathed. And I do understand the need for order and the need for, all these things. But what price do you do that when you suppress who a boy naturally is? I mean, one example, I'm gonna tell y'all this story. No lie, this is the one year I was teaching with I was teaching with another man. He's a member of this group. Um, and we had our kids, we mixture of boys, girls, white, black, many different nationalities. Um, so we would take our kids out to recess, and the other teachers would look at us strangely, like, why are you letting these boys run around like that? They wasn't like running into each other. They were just kind of just running around and being boys, and they weren't hurting anybody. But it was wrong. So imagine a boy who didn't have a man as a teacher. He couldn't do that. All he had to do was go sit up under the slide. Then another time we at recess again, and the girl ran up to me and said, Doc, Mr. Doc, this boy is not making me feel safe. I don't feel safe around him. And I asked her what happened. So y'all get this. So they was playing tag. They were playing freeze tag. And the boy was running too fast. She couldn't keep up with him. So she came and told the teacher that he did something wrong and she didn't feel safe. But the boy was just running, being his natural self. And then what happened is other girls came up and started crying. They started crying and shedding these tears, saying that this boy did all this stuff. And I watched him. He was just running. But what was sad is that other teachers were around me at the time, and they was ready to jump down this boy's throat. So they had to deal with that on a daily basis. And I don't think that they intend to do wrong, but I do think that people align themselves with other people that's like them. So they put themselves in that place. They don't consider that boys and girls are different, because they have no way to see it. But I saw it, and I didn't let that happen. But there's a shortage of men in the teaching fields, and I understand why. Because we are expected to take care of our households. We're expected to be protectors and providers. It's a lot of expectations. It's a lot. And you have to know how to do it from day one. So that's why it's not very many male teachers, because the pay is not very high. Or they put all the male teachers to coach football and basketball, coach sports, and then they teach economics or history, but they don't have the opportunity to go to other fields. I mean, they should offer some sort of incentives for males to teach lower grades. Then that would help. These boys would get somebody that understood them more than just, okay, I'm teaching the subjects, which any teacher that tells you that they just teaching the subjects, I'm going to tell you right now, they're lying, because they always inject their personal beliefs into everything. And the only way you can defeat that as a teacher is to be cognizant that that happens and present a balanced view of everything. But most teachers are not cognizant of that. They will let the girls say, yep, we are better than boys. And then they will cheer it on. The classes are set up to the girls' strengths, so they always come out ahead. and the boys have to barely try to make it through. They have to change. So that's a big problem, though. That male suicide, to me, I think it comes from when they are boys and they don't have the love and attention, and they grow up into those same men. And when they hit those hard times, when the world is conspiring against you and you have nothing, that they choose to do that. So another problem that I noticed too, that may lead to this male suicide rate, is the lack of males in the home, especially at younger ages. So with that, now there are multiple reasons. Now we are painted as being deadbeats, like we just don't want to be there, don't want to be in the home. So then you get that those sets of men, some that said they're going to combat the stereotype. So they go above and beyond and be like, top flight security of the world, to be there, to be a dad at home. Right. But then at the same time, you can't really do that, because how can you provide at a certain level if you home all the time? So what you going to do? Then the other part, they may have been estranged from their families. Whoever they married, they ended up just doing them dirty for one reason or another, or it might be them leave. I don't know. It's a multitude of things. Each one is different, but at the end of the day, it's impacting our boys and it's impacting our young men, as evidenced by the numbers from the National Institute of Mental Health. They are committing suicide at an alarming rate. So that's why we here, man. We gotta stop that. We gotta look out for one another. We gotta form a brotherhood. And y'all, it's okay to say, hey, bro, I'm having a hard time. And even just saying what happened, and if you got somebody that say, I get it, that does a lot, man. But we carry so much stuff in us. We carry all that stuff, and it kills our kings. We killing ourselves, man. So we gotta try to do better, because they're not gonna save us. Nobody gonna save us. It's not happening. It's just not happening. So we gotta try to save ourselves. All right. Here go the last thing. I'm gonna say this last thing, man, and we're gonna jump off. And you can go about your day to this afternoon when me and Lion back in the house discussing some other hard-hitting topics. Man, it's gonna be a good time. Y'all make sure to come back for that, and check us out on YouTube. But here go the last thing. So the last thing is that, so last week, during last week's show, we had Battleground coach Curtis Reese on. And we talked about goal setting, which you've seen one part of it. You've seen what he said. Lion shared some stuff, which that's coming out today. Then I shared some stuff about goal setting, because it's the new year and people say they want to set resolutions and do this and that. So we don't set resolutions over here. We don't do that. We set goals for ourselves. And you don't have to wait till January the 1st to set a goal. Why would you wait for it? Let's just go on and do it. Let's get to it. So those men said a lot of good stuff. And I encourage you to go back and watch it. Go to our YouTube channel, check us out on the group here, and find out about setting your goals. But this is the thing I said about setting goals. That we have to, it's three aspects to setting goals to enable you to be a better man. And what they are is that you have to cultivate your mind, your body, and your spirit. So each of us have a king inside. We got three kings: mind, body, and spirit. So I would encourage you to set your goals toward cultivating that in yourself. So that way you can reach the other goals, like making more money, starting businesses, beating people, doing this and that. So, all right. So the three kings: mind, body, and spirit. Now, let me define those things for you. So the mind king is that's your brain. That's what you think. That's your knowledge. Now, it's susceptible to the world. So that means that you're on social media, you're looking at movies, listening to music. It can influence the king of your mind in one way or the other. Now, it's also your thoughts and your emotions. That's your mind king. It runs all of that. So let me tell you how important this king is. So the mind king, I already said that's your emotions, thoughts, and feelings. So your feelings, right? That means that if something happened to you, you feel a certain way. That transform into your general mood. So you ever seen somebody just be moody because something happened, or they're in a bad mood all the time? Um, so that came from that feeling. So that mood will go and transform into a temperament. And a temperament mean most of the time they are like this. They are this one way. So, and if you keep that temperament too long, then that turn into your personality and what everybody knows us as. Now, I know a gentleman who I think went through this, and I think his personality has forever shifted to something that's not good. It's not good at all. But that's why the mind king is important to maintain that. Now, so let's talk about the body king. Now, the body is susceptible to the mind and the spirit. Okay, let me show you how this works. So the body is your physical self. You know, when you tend to your mind king, that's something like, okay, I'm going to the gym to work out. I'm doing 10 push-ups a night. I'm doing interval training. I'm doing intermittent fasting. You know, you do physical things. That's your mind king. And that includes, you know, like I said, your body type, your shape. It could be the way that you dress. All of that stuff is your mind king. Now, the last part is your spirit king. And that's your inner strength. That's where you get that inner resolve from. That inner resolve, that's your spirit king. So, but the spirit is susceptible to the mind, and it can be weakened by the body. So let me say that again. Your inner man, your spirit is susceptible to the mind, and it can be weakened by your body. When you hear these negative things or you engage in negative self-talk, what happens is you weaken your mind takes over, and it weakens your body, because now when you walk, your shoulders are down, your head is down, you're dragging, you're holding yourself back. Your mind does that. It's all in your mind. But the thing is, they all are connected. All of those kings are connected, and they rule your body in such a way. But what happens is, as with any kingdom, each king is fighting for control. Now, let's say, for instance, your body gains control. It's more powerful than your mind and your spirit. So now all you do is focus on the physical stuff. You know, you're working out all the time, you're building yourself up, you're doing all of this and that. But that leaves you susceptible to what you're listening to, what you're watching, and your mind. You can easily get knocked off that pedestal. Your spirit is weak at that point because you're not feeding it. You're only feeding your body. But then let's look at it the other way. Let's say that you know, your mind king is reigning supreme at the moment. And he's there and he's running the show. So you learn stuff, you know stuff, you do stuff, you are wise, you know, all those things. But you're ignoring your body. So now you're fat and don't want to move. You know, your spirit is low because you don't believe in anything bigger than you, because you're all connected to what you read and what you know. Or let's look at this the other way, man. What if the mind was top? Then, you know, it just, I mean, I'm sorry, I went wrong. Your spirit. What if your spirit was at the top? So if your spirit at the top, then you have this connection to God and everything around you, but your body is nothing. You're out of shape. You feel terrible. You got diabetes and everything else. You're not learning anything because you feel like what your spirit on the inside has it all done. So these three kings, if you work on them all at the same time, then no one will rule and you will have balance in your body and in your life. So when you set your goals, set them for your mind, your body, and your spirit. For me, my mind goal is I want to read and put together 4 book studies this year. So the goal is to do 4 of them this year. 4 different books. We're going to start off at 48 Laws of Power. And I got an idea for 3 more books, but if you have any suggestions, go ahead and drop those in the chat. Then we'll look at that too. But 4 book studies. Body. My body goal is to well, I'm diabetic. I'm gonna tell you. So I'm that dude that I was talking about. I'm diabetic. So my goal is to reduce my A1C. From this number to like 6.0, something like that. So that's my body. My spirit goal, I want to, get a closer connection to my family in the house. I want to get a closer connection to God at church, all those things. So those are my 3 goals for the year. Now, the way you do that, though, they have to be SMART goals. SMART. And I don't know if you ever heard of that before, but I'm going to tell you real quick. So let me create a quick banner for that. S-M, oops, S-M-A-R-T. Okay. I'm going to throw that up here. SMART. S-M-A-R-T. The first one is the S. It got to be specific. You got to do a specific thing. I'm going to do this one thing. Don't just say I'm just going to lose weight. We'll say I'm going to lose some weight. Yeah, how much weight you going to lose? Put a number on it so that way you can measure it, which leads us into the M, which is measurable goals, something you can mark off on a piece of paper. You notice how I said I want to read and do book studies for 4 books this year. I want to have my A1C, at least 6.0. And for the spirit one, I'm gonna have to set something to measure on that. But and then also they have to be achievable. Now, these are all the things that Battleground coach Curtis Reese said, and the Lion. They got to be achievable, something realistic. For instance, I'm not going to say I'm going to read and do book studies for 50 books this year. That is ludicrous. I got life going on. I got all this other stuff happening. I can't sit here and be doing book studies and putting together stuff because it's an unattainable goal. Or better yet, let's say if you're a dude, you weigh 300 pounds and you want to lose weight, but you say, yeah, I want to lose 200, 150 pounds in 3 months. Nah, bruh, that ain't happening. You can't do it like that. So it got to be something that's realistic and achievable. Now, what I would say, when you set your goal, you can have a big number, but break it up into chunks. That's short, achievable chunks, or extend the time that you want to do it in. But it got to be something achievable. All right. Now I got to be relevant. So it got to be related to one of these things. That's why I said mind, body, spirit, because that's a way to keep yourself relevant to you. It got to be relevant. You can't say that, okay, I'm going to be an astronaut. That ain't relevant to what you're doing, because you have to go back to college and then you got to get accepted in the military and do all of this stuff. That ain't even relevant. And then the T, time restricted. Give yourself a time limit on it. Say, that's why I said, okay, I'm going to read 4 books in 1 year. So that means that if I broke that down, I'm going to do 1 book and a book study every 3 months. So I want to get through the whole book in 3 months. So that way I got a schedule. So I know if we're reading 48 Laws of Power and I wanted to do 1 law every week, Well, guess what? I can't do that if I'm trying to do 4 books this year. So I'm gonna have to squeeze it together. So I'm gonna have to do, if it's 48 and I want to do it in 3 months, we're gonna have to jump through about 12 of those things at a time, which I don't know if that's doable. I may have to readjust, but you see what I'm saying. So it got to be time and honor bound. Okay, so I'm about to wrap this thing up, man. I'm just gonna tell y'all, man, look out for these boys. Look out for these young men. Look out for your homeboys beside you. If you see something that they acting funny, or maybe they be walking with their head down or their shoulders slumped, ask them how they doing. And if they say I'm all right, tell them that they can rate themselves 1 through 10. And I guarantee they're gonna be like, man, you know what, bruh, man, really, I'm about a 4. I'm about a 4. And if they tell you that, man, what's wrong? Don't judge them. Don't say nothing about them. Just listen. Man, tell me what's up. Then he'll tell you everything that's happening. Because sometimes they just need to get it out. Let them talk. And then you can offer your advice after that. So look out for your brothers, man. We got a brotherhood here that we building. We got something for us right here in this group. This is for us. We're gonna do this thing, man. We're gonna save ourselves. We're gonna save our brothers, man. Let's go. So but that's all I got. And remember, we'll be back on this afternoon with when Lion get back from doing his daddy stuff. And we're gonna get it on, man. We got some good topics to talk about. I found something good about male abuse, because honestly, a lot of us go through that, but we don't classify it as that. So we might talk about that, and then we may, we're gonna do some positive stuff too. We're gonna do some uplifting stuff. So again, fellas in the group, y'all keep posting your stuff. I'll repost everything I see that's positive. And I'll make sure to give you the credit for it. If I can't put your name on it, I'll put your name on it some kind of way. So that's how we all are working together to help one another. Keep posting this stuff, man. Keep interacting with one another. And then hopefully, when time goes on, we'll get more people on the show. I got some good guests lined up. We're going to talk about some important things, man. And that's all I got, man. So y'all stay up, man, and I'm out. Later.